What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned. I'm your host, one half of the Stay Tuned team, the co-host Tim Internet left. This is Tommy. How you doing, Tommy?
I'm good. I'm a little tired, so I might be yawning, but yeah, I'm good. How are you?
You have a late night? You have a late night or something?
Yeah. Stayed up late. Watched some fisticuffs and some kicksticuffs.
Damn.
And then I played Binding of Isaac and watched Parks and Rec for another hour and a half. So.
And then you went to bed at the normal time that you would be awake and moving.
Yeah, actually. it's about dead on.
This is why I do not envy your work schedule at all.
No, me neither.
You're like, I don't even like it. I have to do it every week. Anyways, how you been the last 2 weeks? I know we didn't do a show last week. We had some other stuff, more outside human being stuff, I guess, going on. But how you been?
Okay. Yeah, some stuff was happening last week, which wasn't so great. But, we're here now, and
we're ready to do. Yeah, it's been a good week, I guess, or 2 weeks. Just been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight and other games. And had to work on my car yesterday, and then went to your house and watched some fisticuffs.
Yep.
So let's talk about the fisticuffs first. UFC 200. I think the reason we both watched this was because one of the co-main events. This is the only reason I even cared to watch it, because I think I said yesterday I haven't watched a UFC live pay-per-view in years. I can't even tell you the last time it was because I don't remember. It might have been 2010 at like a B-dubs or at a bar, just because I was there and it was on more than anything. Right. But
I am an extremely casual UFC fan. I like watching them, but I'll only pay for it if it's like this one, Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, or Conor McGregor, just because I find all of those people fascinating. And whenever CM Punk debuts, which should be at 202. So
yeah, August 20th, I think, or something like that. I can't remember the exact date.
Right the night before SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna be a busy weekend.
So I watch it occasionally, but it makes it kind of fun because then I don't. Other than Brock Lesnar, I really didn't have a dog in any of the fights. So
it was just fun to watch.
It was just fun to watch. It was like, I hope they're good fights.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so let's just start off. We're only going to talk about the main card, not the preliminary fights. First fight, Velasquez versus Brown, with Velasquez going over.
You wrecked him.
Yes, and I think it was TKO with like 3 seconds left in the first round. So it was like 4:57 or something like that.
Yeah. Brown got in like 3 strikes pretty much the entire first round. Then Velasquez just dominated him. Make him goofy. It
was a good fight. It was a good opener, I think. I mean, this isn't like anything like WWE where things are scripted if you don't know anything about UFC. It is actually like legit fighting. So whenever I guess saying going over isn't the right word, he won, I guess. Sorry, that's my bad. I'll take that one. Next fight was, so Conor McGregor was the champ. What was it, the welterweight or the featherweight? I can't remember what the weight class was.
I don't know.
But he went over the weight limit or something like that. So then it was I don't know if I'm gonna say this guy's name right because I see this. It sounds like Jose to me, but they were calling him like Josie all night. Aldo versus Edgar, and I believe Aldo was the underdog because Edgar had a victory over him like back in April or something like that. And this match was fun, but it was really slow, I think, because it was also 5 rounds.
Yeah, so Aldo's only loss in the past 10 years was to Conor McGregor for whatever title that was, and then McGregor lost it. But now at this level, which was it Flyaway or whatever, I don't know. Conor McGregor really is still the champion, but because he moved up a weight class to fight Aldo there and get that belt, which he lost to Nate Diaz, they needed an interim champion. So Aldo hadn't lost in like 10 years. But he was the underdog because Edgar hadn't beaten him, but Edgar had won a bunch of fights in a row.
Yeah.
And pretty much Aldo just played super defensively, and any time that Edgar would do anything, he would just counter it or just like step out of the way. So
it was interesting because
it was a really good fight, but it wasn't like
because they never went to the ground once.
It
looked kind of like a boxing match that was like really slow, I guess. Because I mean, like Aldo was playing it really smart because he's like, if he knows if he goes to the ground, the way that Edgar fights, from what they were, I haven't watched Edgar fight before last night, but the way that it sounded is that he's more of like a ground and pound kind of guy, like get you to the ground and beat you down. So Aldo staying up and just literally like it was so fast how quick these guys moved that Edgar would throw a punch and then all of a sudden he would be like falling back and it's like, what happened? I didn't even see what happened. But at the end of the fight, Edgar's face looked like it was completely rearranged. And you never really saw like a couple of
Aldo had nothing.
He had like, I think he had like kind of like a puffy left eye or something like that. But that's it. But looking at the difference, it was
in that whole time.
Yeah, it was a good fight, but it was like, just not exactly what I was expecting. Next fight, this is so the main event was supposed to have been Cormier versus Jones, but Jones, I guess, failed some sort of a wellness policy. And got pulled from the fight like 2 days ago, so like Wednesday or Thursday, and then Anderson Silva, the Spider, was like, I'll fight him, just cause, and he did. And this fight, sort of, yeah. This fight isn't exactly what I think both of us expected it to be, but we can see why it went this way, I think.
Yeah, literally, Cormier just sat on top of him for like 3 rounds.
Yeah. I think it was like...
neither of them were training for each other, and I don't even think Silva was training for a fight, so like...
No, he wasn't. It was 2 days to get ready, but still, like, Silva got a little bit of offense in. I think we both got pretty excited at that point, but...
Like, right at the end.
Yeah. But it wasn't...
Like 10 seconds left in the last round.
There was, like, nothing unless he, like, knocked him out, like, right there. But it is what it is. I think that would have been a really good fight if they both had been training for that fight.
Yep.
But...
And if Silva was like 5 years younger.
Yeah, because I think Cormier was like 36 and Silva's like 42 or something like that. So we'll save the next fight for last because I think that was the fight we were both wanting to see. But the other one was for the women's bantamweight championship. Champion was Miesha Tate going up against Amanda Nunes, who has her name tattooed on her back.
Yeah, that was real weird.
That was kind of weird. This was a great fight, even though it was like 50 seconds long.
Yeah.
Or whatever
Nunes,
it was.
Like, I mean, she dominated Tate.
Tate got like 1 or 2 good hits in, and that was it. And
yeah,
it wasn't
I don't
even like
remember.
It was early.
Nunes, like, she had her just bloodied all up and down, and Nunes didn't even like have a scratch on her. It was over quick. This fight only really just proved to me though that like Ronda Rousey is still in a league of her own, even though she lost to Holm, who lost to Tate, who lost to Nunes, because I think she just got she went a bit tilted against Holm and didn't have a good strategy, so she lost. But like, if she were to fight either of these two, I think she would just dominate.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It was coming at the end of the fight, dude. Tate's nose just looked ridiculous.
It was like twice as big.
Yeah. Plus, her entrance music was just kind of... we were both kind of like, how do you get pumped up to
Katy
this?
Perry roar.
Yeah.
All
right, so the fight we were waiting for to see over the whole night, Brock Lesnar versus Mark Hunt. Brock Lesnar's returned to the Octagon in like 4.5 years, a little bit over 4.5 years. They said it was like 4 months, or 4 years, 7 months, and like 9 days, or some weird number like that. I thought Brock, for not being in the UFC for almost 5 years, looked pretty good.
Yeah, he's definitely in the best shape of his career, and not having his intestinal problems is
his diverticulitis. The fight wasn't nearly as exciting as I thought it was going to be, but it was still like a pretty good fight. Lesnar took Hunt to the ground. The takedowns looked really good. Like, they looked really, really good. Like, he had both the legs. Like, usually whenever they have both the legs, the person can like just cock out their legs and not go down, which is the defensive tactic. But because Lesnar's just so big and just so strong, he just picked up Hunt and just threw him to the ground. It looked so good.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, and Brock dominated the first round. Second round, it was just boring. He lost. He looked like it was like, oh shit, like
Brock is about to pass out.
Yeah, like he looked kind of winded, and it was like, oh man, is he gonna lose? But then third round got back to it, and
the second round he was just like putting his hand out, like not even closed fist, just because he had like what was it, like a 6 or 7 inch reach on Hunt.
He had a 9-inch reach advantage.
Was it 9 inches? So he was just like literally just pushing him away, whenever he got in range, because Hunt is what they say he's like the one hit TKO specialist or something like that. Mm-hmm. So he was just keeping Hunt at a distance, because the second round it looked like if he would have gotten hit one good time on the chin, I think Lesnar would have been down, which would have been bad for him or anybody, I guess, that gets hit like that. But Lesnar won.
Yep.
It was great. So the first match we had a TKO in the first round. The last match we had a submission. The rest of them all went to the decision.
Yeah. It was a fun card. I like watching UFC. It's a nice change of pace over like wrestling and stuff. So yeah, looking forward to hopefully Brock fighting some more in the UFC.
Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting, because it would be like a nice. I mean, like the WWE. Yes, it's all scripted and the outcomes are predetermined, but it still is a sport because it's entertainment and it takes physical skill. But UFC it's just the UFC. You just fight till the other person's knocked out or they submit or you win. So it's completely different, but I would like to see Lesnar fight more, but I still like him in the WWE as well. So it'd be kind of nice if he could just kind of do both worlds, but I could see the advantages and then the huge disadvantages of him doing that.
If I had to choose, I'd rather have him in UFC, just because he got kind of boring in WWE.
I mean, the matches were kind of fun when it's just suplex city nonstop, but
it was like, can we do anything else?
Yeah, German suplex. What else did he have? Belly to belly, and F5, and that's about it. That's his. Everyone makes fun of John Cena, but no one makes fun of Brock Lesnar just because.
Because Brock Lesnar is scary.
Yeah, he is. But I agree with you. I'd like to see him in the UFC. I'd actually be intrigued to watch it more, because the first time he was in there, I was not watching wrestling or UFC at all. So it'd be kind of nice to see him get back in there and actually see what he can do without being sick.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So we're going to jump straight in. So it's halfway through the year. We don't really know what to talk about because there's not really been much video game stuff since E3. So we're going to take a look back at the first half of the year, all the games that have come out, what we like, what we don't like, and then looking forward to the rest of the year and what we are most looking forward to. All right.
Yeah.
So
let's do it.
Let's just go straight down, pretty much almost chronological order. It's at least in order by month. So January, first game on my list was Resident Evil 0. I guess it was like the HD re-release, remastered version thing, just like Resident Evil was last year. Yeah. Did you ever buy this? I can't remember. I think you said you bought it and you beat it, right?
No, I didn't beat it. I played it for like 2 hours. It was all right. The switching between characters got kind of old, so
yeah. So I don't
really keep my attention.
I beat this game not the remastered one, but originally only like 3 or 4 times in my entire life, compared to what I say Resident Evil was like a lot more than that.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure I've beaten Resident Evil, the remake. I think the remastered. I think I beat the game in like 3 times in one day or something like that.
Wow.
Whenever it first came out, going for like all the achievements or something like that. But I'm just not nearly as drawn to Resident Evil 0 because the switching between teammates, no item boxes, the leech enemies and stuff. It's just, to me, it's not nearly as fun. Like, just because I'm not nearly as drawn to either of these characters as I am to, say, Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine from the original game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad game.
No, I mean, $20 as well. It's not $20. I think it's worth it. I've only beat the game once this year. I don't really have any plans to revisit it, which is sad, but also, just to include with that, Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6 have been re-released on the Xbox One, PS4, just so you can have them there. And I think I bought Resident Evil 6, and I want to say it was like $15, maybe $20 at most. Resident Evil 5 just came out like a week ago.
The only game that matters on backwards compatibility is Red Dead Redemption, and you can play it now. So.
Oh, you can? They finally released that? Nice, because I own it. I own it on the Xbox 360 because it was like $4 or something not too long ago, and I was like, yeah, I'll buy that because I never played that game a long time ago.
Best games ever made.
Next game in January, you played this, I didn't, The Witness.
Yeah, this game's too smart for me.
Just that's your only response. Too smart for me.
I have like 2 hours played in this game, and like I've always been meaning to go back to it because I feel like I could just go back and pick it back up. But it was like I'd get to one of the worlds, or like not worlds, but like I'd get to one of the sections, and it's like I'd get real far in it, and then there'd be one where it's like I don't know, and then I'd get stuck, so I'd go to a different section to kind of try and use my brain in a different way, and then I'd get real far, and then I'd get stuck, and then this cycle would continue. So I felt real dumb.
Did you ever look up guides for the game, or did you try and just figure it out on your own?
So I didn't want to do that because
that kind of defeats the purpose.
Not only does it defeat the purpose, but also like, and this is what Jonathan Blow, the designer of the game, and like some other people said too that made sense, was like if you use a guide to solve one of the puzzles, you're just screwing yourself over in the end because every puzzle builds on itself. So like, you know, at the beginning of the sections, it's like the very basic versions of that puzzle, and then like gradually stuff will keep getting added and stuff. So if you like miss a step in there, you're not going to necessarily understand how to get to the end of it.
Makes sense.
It's one of those games where you definitely shouldn't use a guide. Like you could, but literally the whole point of the game, like there's a very vague story in it, and like there are these little audio clues that you can find around the place that are kind of interesting, but it would defeat the purpose to use a guide. So I definitely want to go back to it, but it depends on how smart I'm feeling.
How smart you're feeling. All right, so February kind of came and went for me, but Unravel came out. I was really excited about this game, and then I bought it, and I played like the first 2 or 3 levels, and I was just kind of like, okay, and I just kind of stopped playing it.
Yeah, I didn't. It looked okay. I didn't really.
The game has a lot of heart, which is hard to find nowadays, but the puzzles weren't super hard. There was only like a level that was difficult, but it was never like the last one. It was always just one in the middle, and it was because it wasn't because I'm not saying the puzzle was hard. It was more of I was way overthinking it when it was something that was ridiculously simple to do. But the game it looks really great. The soundtrack is good, but it just, I don't know. I didn't feel like there was a replay factor personally. But then moving on to Tom's type of games here. The Fire Emblem, what was it? Rebirth and Awakening or something like that?
Rebirth or Birthright and Conquest.
Okay.
I bought one of them. I don't remember which one. And then I gave my 3DS to you to play Pokemon. So.
Oh yeah, speaking of that, Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow came out in February as well.
Yeah, so those are amazing, and Tim hasn't gotten very far.
I've beaten 2 Gym Masters. Thank you very much.
Oh my god, I could do that in an hour. But
I don't care what you can do in an hour. I did it myself.
But then XCOM 2 also came out this month, which it's a good game. It's just like real buggy. So I played it for like 3 hours and then stopped because it was like every time I'd load up missions, it would just like crash or run like crap. So that kind of made me want to stop. So I'm hoping with the console versions coming out that they've like patched it and all that.
Makes sense.
Because it's just really hard to play a game when it's like everything you do matters, but then like your entire progress could just get deleted on a mission because it just crashed during the middle of it. So, and then Street Fighter V came out, which I got on PS4, and the fighting is super good, and everything else kind of sucks.
Yeah, so that came out. I don't have a PS4, but I don't know what it was about the game. I think it was a couple of things, though, personally. Just like the game came out and it was kind of, to me it didn't seem like it was finished because they're like, oh, we're going to just keep releasing content and characters for free as the game goes on. Because it's, I mean, I understand like they got to make their money to pay for development costs, but seriously, like, come on, people, like.
And, well, it's not, the characters aren't free, so they were supposed to release stuff and like, there was supposed to be a shop where you could spend your fight money, which you earned in the single player and the multiplayer and stuff, to purchase characters and costumes and all that. And as of right now, it's still like the fight money shop is there, but you can't spend real money to buy characters. That's what it was. You used the fight money to buy stages and costumes, I think, and then real characters you had to buy with money. But literally, they still haven't released the like 4-pay store unless they did it like within the past week. It's insane. Like there was supposed to be a single player that came out in May or
June. Yeah, I read about that.
And it still hasn't come out, or it came out like right at the end of June. It's just kind of a mess, which sucks because like it's probably like the best feeling fighting game in terms of like 2D fighters like that, which is just a shame that everything surrounding it is kind of crappy.
Yep. I never played Street Fighter ever, really, so I'm not good at it. But I do like Injustice a lot. That was probably my favorite. That's probably my favorite feeling fighting game is Injustice.
But then another game that came out in February that I want to mention is Firewatch, which is one of my favorite games of the year.
But I haven't played that yet.
It's super good. It's like a narrative first-person
like in the
kind of game where you're out
or something like that.
Yeah. It's really good. It's a great story, and I love the art and the characters and the dialogue in it. So that could be on my top 10 at the end of the year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. All right. So moving on to March, quite possibly to me the most disappointing game of the year so far, The Division.
Yeah.
I bought this game. I played this game. Max level was 30? 30?
Yep, 30.
I think I got to like level 12, maybe 13, and I stopped playing.
Yeah,
I felt like it was Destiny in third person. Plus, I wasn't progressing through it very, very fast, like trying to hit max level like in a day. I was watching other people, and it was pretty much go to the dark zone and don't enjoy your life after you hit max level. That's what it sounded like to me, at least.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, I liked it for the like 10 hours I played of it. Maybe I got to like level 20 something. I didn't even beat all the missions in the single player, or just the main missions, whatever, single player, multiplayer. It was just kind of like there wasn't really, not having like a raid sort of thing really put a damper on it, because it didn't really give you anything to push for. It was like, oh, cool, I got to this level. Like,
well, also
you can get cool gear, but like, I don't know. It's just something about like, you know, in Destiny or in like an MMO where they have like named gear where it's like, oh man, I want to get Galahorn. Oh, I want to get this sword or whatever, this armor set. Like that kind of gives you something to go for. In this game, it's literally just like, I've got an M4.
Well, there were
it's a real good M4, but it's an M4.
There were named guns, but they were really rare, I guess. I don't know. The problem I had with the game is watching other people talk about it was pretty much you could get gear and stuff that made you not invulnerable to player damage, but it took forever to kill you. So you were pretty much like a walking boss in the dark zone.
Yeah,
depending on the other characters that were in there with you.
And I think the Dark Zone's like a cool concept and all that. But
yeah, because I loved the beta. I loved the beta Dark Zone because there wasn't that gear progression like there is in the actual game of The Division. So if I saw like a level 8 or whatever the max level was, I think it was 8 or 9, I could actually still kill them. There wasn't like they weren't immune to my bullets. Whereas whenever you hit level 30, depending on the gear you get with the stats and stuff, it just kind of made people very, very overpowered, I guess, and made the game imbalanced.
And like the shooting, I think feels good, and I think the cover mechanics and stuff. I think the gameplay is totally fine. It's just kind of, it was missing some kind of spark to really like make it interesting and kind of keep stay at the forefront of my mind.
Yeah, because it fell off quick. Another game in March. I don't think Tom's played this, but I freaking love this game, and I need to play it more. But the Angry Video Game Nerd 2 Ass Immolation.
I never want to play this game.
Oh my god, this game is so much fun. I will say that it's got a lot more depth to it compared to the first one. But at the same time, I feel like it was a little bit easier than the first one. But overall, the game is amazing, and I want to play it more. But there's just so many games that I'm trying to play right now that I just don't have time. But I think I beat the game on normal. Like, there's like a easy, normal, hard, very hard, impossible. There's like that many difficulties. But I beat it on normal in like, I think 2 sittings. So it was like maybe 2.5, 3 hours at most. But I enjoyed it because the level design was completely different. the first game you chose a level and you would beat it, then you just kept going. But this one actually, it's like going from Super Mario Brothers 1 to Super Mario Brothers 3. That's the best way to describe it, I guess. Because there was like sub levels, so the levels weren't as long, but there were more of them, and there was like the map where you could move around. That was just really cool. Plus, just me being a huge angry video game nerd fan, there's just so much fan service in this game. But it's also just based off of the web series / movie that is out. So yeah, it's great. Tom will have to play it sometime because it's not hard.
I don't know. Angry video game nerd. I like his old stuff. I just can't push myself to watch anything. Like, hey, it's got the word ass in it. Like, I don't know.
I still think it's great. But
good.
All right,
I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked it.
April, Dark Souls 3. I actually really like this game, and I really haven't played any of the Dark Souls games.
This is probably the best one to get into.
Because I would say that I've heard it's the easiest out of all of them. But I'm like,
and it's definitely the least like confusing layout wise. Mm-hmm. I feel like, out of all the games, I've played every single Dark Souls, and like, I played this game like 9 hours, and it was just because I got frustrated. So I probably just played Binding of Isaac instead. But it was like I probably played the other games a combined like 9 hours, so I played it the most out of all of them. They're good games. I just don't have the patience to stick with them.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to go back to it. I own the game. I just want to go back and play it more. The boss fights were fucking awesome. Yeah. They were so much fun.
Very good.
I started to learn, like, I think I did 4 boss fights. I can't remember. But I remember this one big tree boss was just so much fun to fight, and I died to him. Like, the thing I liked about this game a lot is that it took me back. I guess this is why people like the Dark Souls series. It took me back to when I was a kid, and there was just pretty much just trial and error and learning how the boss works. Because it's pretty much just everything's on a pattern system is the best way to describe it. Because I would pretty much I started just running to the boss because I figured out I knew where he was at. And instead of just fighting my way there and possibly dying and losing all my souls, I just ran straight to the boss and took no damage the whole way there. But the boss fight wasn't too hard. It was more or less just learning the mechanics. And every time you got to like a new phase, you would start to learn the mechanic, then you would just die. Then you're like, oh crap, I got to go back. Then you'd halfway learn the mechanic. You'd learn the mechanic the rest of the way, and you'd probably die as soon as you were about to finish that phase or move on to the next phase. But it was a enjoyable experience that I thought I was going to hate.
Yeah, it's definitely the most old school of any games.
Yeah, but that's that's the market that they go for, which is which is great that they cater to it though. Like, they actually do a good job.
Yeah, for sure.
Next game is definitely all you, Tom. But Ratchet and Clank. I think we talked about this quite a bit like a couple months ago.
When I streamed it, I played it from beginning to end. It was like 8 hours nonstop.
But the game was only like $40 though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not. I'm just saying, 8 hours for $40. I don't think that's bad, personally.
I just played a game that was 3 hours, and I paid $20 for it, and I would have paid $80 for it. I wouldn't have paid 80. I would have paid 60. But
don't say that. They might hear you.
I've actually played Ratchet and Clank more as well, trying to go back and get all the unlockables and stuff, because it's a lot of fun. It's a remake-ish of the first Ratchet and Clank game. They took some of the levels and added some new things and changed some stuff around, but for the most part, it's the same story and same level design and all that of the original Ratchet and Clank, which is a fantastic game. It's one of my favorite game series because it's just a lot of fun. Fun, whimsical story with lots of humor and bright colors. And this is one of the best looking games I've ever played. Second only in terms of console games to a game that came out later in the year. But yeah, it's funny because every Ratchet and Clank game that's been released, it's like a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when Ratchet and Clank came out on PS2, it was like, oh my god, it looks like a Pixar movie. And then it came out on PS3, and it was like, oh my god, now it really looks like a Pixar movie. And then this game came out, and it's like, no, this time Looks like a Pixar
It's
movie.
just, I think, like, when you look back, like, to games that are still being developed today, like, you see them on, like, the PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 3, the Xbox One, the PS4, whatever it is. It's just so cool to see that progression, because you're just like, I look back to playing Resident Evil 2. I always talk about this game, like, all the time anyways, but I remember playing that game, and I'm like, there's no way the graphics could ever get better than this. And then, literally, like, a year later, I'm like, oh my god, there's no way the graphics can get better than this. And you go on that, like, that spiral. Then eventually, I don't know, like, at this point, playing certain games, I really don't know how they're going to get better besides maybe shading and other stuff. But some games,
it's going to be like attention to detail.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. Like, hey, so like one thing I always said, like the hair, there's never like single strands of hair. It's like layers of hair and stuff like that. But it's getting to that point now, like playing, just for an example that's come to mind, like Tomb Raider, Lara Crofts, whatever her name is. Laura, whatever. It's spelled weird. But her hair looks a million times better than it did like on like the PS2, those games that came out and stuff like that. But yeah, that's just adding on to that point of how it just gets better and better, and you just keep thinking that this looks like this. Okay, I lied. That doesn't look that good now, but this looks amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's funny how graphics are like that, but this is definitely the best way to do a remake, at least in my mind, because it's not shot for shot the same thing. It's not built off the same engine, just up-res. Like, it's a reimagining, and they added some weapons that like weren't in the first game, but they're in later games in the series and all that, and they kind of changed them around so that they all worked. And yeah, it's just a fun game. Like, it's one of the most fun games I've played in a long time. I remember before that, I hadn't really played a game from like start to end, without a lot of time in between. I remember thinking like, what is going on with games where I'm like starting and stopping them? But that game was like, I just want to play through and beat it. So that was definitely probably the biggest surprise of the year for me, was how good that game was and how much I liked it.
Ratchet and Clank, to me, the way you're describing it sounds just like how Resident Evil was for me back on the GameCube.
Yeah.
Like, it was still the same game. It felt like the same game, but they added so much more.
Yeah, that's kind of the same,
it's
along
amazing.
The same lines of how they did it.
It's great because it makes you think back to the original game, which for me was, the original Resident Evil was actually terrible, but it was good at the time. All right, moving on. May. So I want to talk about Homefront: The Revolution. Why? I haven't played this game. Well, because I played the original, and I thought the original was actually really good. I thought the story was compelling, and it was different. It was kind of neat to say, like, hey, so back in the day whenever America won this war, we actually lost it in this storyline, and this is what's going on now. But I watched a couple things before this game came out because I was really close to buying it. And I was like, well, okay, I'm going to check out game ranks before you buy. And I just pretty much said, nope, I am not going to play this game now because it doesn't look that good. It's gotten terrible reviews. Thank you to the team that created it. Thank you for trying, but yeah, I'm very depressed because I actually wanted this game to be really good, and it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Red Dawn, the game.
Yeah, which I wrote back in my senior year in high school. I'd never seen Red Dawn before, but there's this game that was out called Freedom Fighters, which was...
God, that's a good game.
That's an amazing game.
Oh, make Freedom Fighters 2, please.
Yes, please, make Freedom Fighters 2.
I love that game.
But I remember playing that. That was kind of a similar thing to, like, the whole Homefront, which is why I was probably attracted to Homefront in the first place from playing that game on, like, the GameCube and the Xbox. But I remember writing a story pretty much, like, just like how it was, like, America was taken over by some foreign country or something, and there were like small rebellions that were like fighting out in major cities and stuff. And I got like an A on the paper, and then the teacher asked me if I got inspiration from Red Dawn, and I was like, "What's Red Dawn?" And she was like, "Oh, where'd you get the inspiration from?" I was like, "This video game that I played that I really liked." It was like, but the game at that time was like 3 years old or 4 years old. But I just thought the story was kind of neat and compelling, and I was like, I'm gonna write my own type of story, but incorporate other characters and stuff. And then I actually watched Red Dawn, and I was like, okay, that was kind of a cool movie. Like, I could see why the teacher thought that was that way.
Freedom Fighters 2, oh my god.
That
needs to happen.
I'm actually afraid of it happening because I feel like they would fuck it up.
It needs to happen.
Yeah, it was a great game. All right, moving on. May, Overwatch.
So, May had 2 weeks where 4 games were released that were just like top tier games.
Yes.
Including Overwatch and Total War Warhammer in the same week. But yes,
I need to play that. I haven't played that yet.
Overwatch is awesome.
Yeah, so Overwatch is great. I love playing it. Only thing is that I stopped playing it for like a couple weeks playing other games, and I tried to go back to playing it. And not that I wasn't like in the groove or anything, but all my friends were like, I was like level 45, but all the people I played with were like 190. I think one person was like 210, and I'm just like, wow. So I was getting paired up against people that were higher levels, and I was like, wow, I am not nearly that good at this game anymore.
That's why you got to play competitive so that your overall level doesn't matter. And I'm glad that they released competitive recently because
I need to play that, but I haven't yet.
It's really good. Overwatch is great.
It is.
I know we talked about it a lot, but it's definitely my go-to multiplayer game now.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, multiplayer games I'm not super invested into them very much. But this game is great just because it's easy enough to just jump in, play a game, jump out if I want to. You can do all kinds of different stuff. All the characters are great and unique. So, yeah, competitive's great. Glad they released it because that's all I'm going to be doing multiplayer-wise, really.
And you said Total War.
Total War is really good, but if you're dumb like me, again, another game where it's like, so my whole goal in those games is to just try and take everybody over. But then when you spend 15 hours on this one campaign and then you march into, and you haven't saved, like you've been overwriting your saves and your last save is like a long time ago, and you march into an area with 4 enemies and they just gang up and kill you, kind of lose all your momentum.
Yeah. I don't know. I might check that out, but I don't know. There's just so much other stuff I'm trying to play right now. All right, so we're going to jump to June. We'll come back to the other May games later. All right, June. Mighty Number 9. So
I knew this game would suck from the moment I saw it, and I'm glad I was right.
I'm not glad that you're right. I loved Mega Man, but at the same time, like, the game came out and it just like flopped on its head because it had so many problems when it came out.
It might be one of the ugliest games I've ever seen.
It doesn't look good. It looks like it's from like the original Xbox, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like that opening Xbox 360 game. Not something that should be like on the Xbox One, PS4, and PC right now to today's standards.
And I'm not even like, and just the art style is real weird. Like, I don't know. That game, from the moment I saw it, like the anime kind of style look is fine, but I don't know. When I saw the actual gameplay, it was kind of like, this looks just kind of ugly. And Mega Man has never really been my series. So
I love Mega Man, but the reviews this game got and watching streamers, I'm just like, no thanks, I'm good.
Yeah. And I'm glad that I'm kind of glad that it didn't do so great, just because it's like, look guys, don't announce a Kickstarter and then announce 3 more before your first game ever even gets released.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this game could have been good if they had like focused on it instead of going like, hey, we're also going to do one that's like Mega Man Legends, and we're going to do an anime, and we're going to do another game. And it's like, well, where's your first game at? And I just feel like they kind of got what they deserved in terms of not.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
It sucks for the people that make the game. I hope at least they were able to keep their jobs and all that. But in terms of the main guys, like, get your act together.
All right. Another game in June. This is one that I've been playing extensively the past couple weeks. I can't convince Tom to play it yet. But Dead by Daylight. So I think the reason I am so into this game right now is because of a game that's coming out later in the year. But the Dead by Daylight, we have like I wrote a whole review for it, published it on YouTube. You can check it out. But I've been playing it, and the developers are still staying up with the game 100%. They're not like flaking off and saying, "Oh, we'll take care of it whenever we can." They're actually like actively on the forums, talking to the community. They do like a weekly stream where they do like, it's a Q&A, but you gotta think there's like 3,000 or 4,000 people watching or something like that. So it doesn't really work out. But I don't know, like every game is always different. You have to actually use some kind of teamwork, but playing as the killer is so satisfying. As long as they would fix a couple of things that they need to fix. But maybe Tom will buy it, because I think in the next week or two they're going to be releasing.
Probably not.
Yeah, they'll be releasing the Survive with Friends, which is
nice.
I'm not sure if it's going to be amazing or if it's going to break the game, because yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it looks cool, but I'm probably just going to wait until Friday the 13th comes out.
Yeah. All right. Now July, there's only one game to talk about. Tom, the game you played through today entirely, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, it's called Inside, and it's the weirdest game I've ever played. It's from Play Dead Studios, the guys that made Limbo, so it's the same kind of thing where it's 2D, very unique art style, some puzzle solving and platforming. And this game was getting a lot of praise, and so I was like, yeah, I'll play it. I didn't think Limbo was that great. I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was like life changer, like I saw a lot of people saying. But this game is really, really good. Like, I know you were saying like, oh, I didn't really care for Limbo that much. Me neither. But you should definitely play. Well, I don't know if you should, since you've seen what happens at the end.
I haven't seen. I turned it off before you finished the game, but I saw the monstrosity that you
happened.
Yeah.
So, so you're playing as this boy, and you start off in the woods, and like you're going through, and it's like there are these guys with these weird masks on, and they have guard dogs, and they're like trying to chase you down for whatever reason, and you see all these people that are like brain dead, that are just like marching in a single file line into like these trucks, and they're getting taken away places, and you end up going through a lot of different environments and all that. But it's very creepy. It's one of the best atmospheres for a game that I've played in a very long time, if not ever. Like, the entire time it's like, what is going on? What am I doing? Why am I here? And they don't really solve those questions, really, which they didn't in Limbo either. But at least this game has a little bit more going on than that. But then the very last act of the game is just
weird.
Like, I rewatched the part where it happened, and my face just went from like, oh yeah, I'm enjoying this game, like trying to stay focused, figure out the puzzles and stuff, to my just like, what is happening? Like, eyes wide open, my mouth is like, my jaw is on the floor. It got real weird, and I loved it for it. So this game automatically like jumped like real high on my game of the year list. It's something. I'm not going to say what happens, but it is really something.
So you'd recommend people to check it out then?
Oh my God, yes.
All right.
Please check it out. It's really good.
Speaking of game of the year, let's talk about if the year ended right now, what our current game of the years would be. Your game of the year, I haven't played yet, so go ahead and talk about it.
So real quick, I'm not going to count the fact that The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth came out on PS4 this year. Just as an aside, because I know Binding of Isaac,
It's the worst game ever made. Go ahead.
My game of the year is Uncharted 4.
Four?
Huh?
Four?
Four, yeah.
That's how you say it in the Army.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
One, was it unto tree four?
Why would you say that?
That's how you say it.
Okay. But yeah, Uncharted 4, the continuing and probably final adventure of Nathan Drake. It came out the same week as Tim's Game of the Year, and the week before Warhammer and Overwatch, so rippy dippy wallet those 2 weeks.
Jesus Christ, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, it was a bad week.
It was a great week.
I mean, it was great. It was bad. But yeah, it's the best of the Uncharted games, in my opinion. It has the best story out of all of them. It kind of keeps you going because it's more personal. Like, obviously, there's the big treasure that they're going after. And I think that treasure is really interesting in the way they talk about it. But at the same time, also, you're introduced to Nathan's brother, who, for a character you've never met before this game, they do a great job of setting it up and making you actually care about him. And they do a great job just the banter between the two of them, and like when Sully gets involved and all that. And the gameplay is great. It's probably the best shooting out of all the games. And the climbing and stuff is the same as always. But it's not the best shooting in the world, but it doesn't really need to be. But it's also the best looking game I've ever played on a console. At some points I just like would stop and just like look at the environment and how crazy it was. The environments where it has huge groups of people and Nathan's like going through them and he's pushing people aside and all that and like kind of squeezing through, but it's not like his hand is just like moving through the people. It's like everybody is uniquely animated. There was a really impressive video on Reddit that somebody posted of like he shoots a rock at the top of this like little hill, and it's a rocky hill, and like it just slowly gathers a bunch of rocks as it goes down. Like the attention to detail, like we were talking about before, is just incredible in this game. Like you can look through the cartilage in Nathan's ear if the light's right. Like it's really crazy. But it's the best of the games. The story's great, gameplay's fun. It's the best kind of Indiana Jones video game that you can play. And I loved every second of it. And there's a part in like the third chapter that has been discussed a lot, but it's probably the most heartwarming segment of any game
I haven't seen
that I've ever played.
Don't ruin it for me.
I won't. But it's definitely the most personal, and it's not like major to the story or anything. It's just a very personal, touching moment that I love.
All right. So looking at my game of the year, like Tom said, it came out the same week as Uncharted 4, but it's obviously Doom.
This is my number 2 game right now.
Yeah, dear Lord, this game was so good. It pretty much took everything about the games today and then looked at it from a Doom perspective and said, nah, we're not going to do that. So people have probably already seen this, but you start the game off, literally your guy's like in like a sarcophagus or something, and he gets up, like bangs a zombie, hell demon to his death, like right there on the sarcophagus, grabs a gun and just starts shooting people. And then you walk into the next room and you get an armor suit, and this guy's like, hey, let me tell you what's going on. So all this, and he's like, nope, fuck this, throws the screen, and just goes out there, grabs a shotgun, you start shooting people. It was probably the most refreshing take on an introduction scene for the game that I've ever seen in the past, like, 5 years, I think.
Like, like, from start to kill is, like, 10 seconds.
Yeah, well, usually you have, like, a 10-minute introduction explaining how stuff works. Then it's like, okay, grab this gun, now aim at this target. Okay, right trigger shoots. It's like, hey, you already know all that shit. Go kill stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's definitely Doom in a modern context.
And a couple things to talk about it as well. Somebody made a good point. The guy that I can't remember his name that does Game Ranks, he has like a separate channel. He talked about this, but he's like, Doom, the new Doom 2016 is like if Doom and Quake had a baby, this is what it is. And I'm like, damn, that makes a lot of sense. That is so true. So it's like Quake Arena meets Doom. But the music, being a heavy metal fan anyways, is like top notch. Yep. So you like rip open one of those heart things, I can't remember what they're called, and then you just start blasting people away. Music's blaring in your ears. You're just getting pumped up. You're getting brutal kills because you have to get brutal kills to stay alive because you're taking damage, so you have to get health. You run out of ammo, you pull out the chainsaw, you chainsaw somebody, you get more ammo, rinse and repeat. But the game is challenging. It's actually extremely challenging, but it's not like Dark Souls challenging, but it's not easily rewarding. Like, yeah, I don't want to say like Call of Duty's easy, but if you get shot in Call of Duty, you can hide, your health regenerates, you can pop out, do a couple of things. Whereas this, you have to keep moving nonstop and get your health back.
Yeah, like it's not. I wasn't dying a lot, but it was like, all right, I've got to be smart and plan my routes out and all that, and I had to constantly be thinking. Like there was no time to just kind of leisurely stroll around. It was like I gotta always be thinking about what's going on. But the traversal stuff, I loved that, and trying to find all the secrets on the maps and stuff. Yeah, this game was just incredible.
And then also if you find some of the secrets, it unlocks more stuff in the main menu. which is great. There's a multiplayer on the game. I haven't played it. I played the beta. I played the beta, and I wasn't that impressed. Even though I had the games I actually had like really good games. It was just something I knew I wasn't going to stick with because also Overwatch was coming out like in a week, which would have been a much more better competitive shooter. But the game overall, to me, if I was to rate it right now, it's probably like a 10 out of 10, easy, hands down. But there's still a lot of games coming out. So, like we said, if the year ended right now, Doom would be my game of the year. And Uncharted would be Tom's.
Yep.
But let's look at the rest of the year now. Just once again, chronological order. So August, which is just right around the corner. I didn't really see anything else in July that was coming out that was
I'm trying to
super
look,
interesting.
And it's like, what? Yeah, there's nothing here.
August. This is probably Tom's, I'm just going to guess, probably most anticipated game of the year.
It is.
Deus Ex Mankind Divided.
That's one of them. I like that.
No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky.
It's finally done. Oh, I can't wait.
So didn't Sky TV over in like Europe or wherever it's at like slow down the release of this game or something like that?
Well, they tried to because they have a trademark on the word Sky, which
but it's
seems kind of general.
That's like saying I have a trademark on the word stay.
Yeah.
Like,
but the main thing that slowed this game down, I think, was just the sheer scale of it.
Yeah.
And the fact that they finally got it done is awesome because, yes, this has been my most anticipated game for a few years now, so I can't wait.
Yes. Also coming out in August, Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I played Deus Ex Mankind Revolution. I loved it, but I never finished it. I might go back and pick it back up before this game comes out.
Yeah, it's not... That's a great game. The ending isn't like... The ending's kind of dumb, but... I mean, I don't know. I guess this game is like supposed to be a sequel to it, so yeah, it might be worth it. You know, finishing it back up. You could probably pick up wherever you were in your story.
Yeah, I want to say I was only like 3 hours into it.
Yeah, those are good games.
Then also at the end of August, we got the WoW expansion Legion,
and Hatsune Miku Diva X. Woo!
That's what I'm looking for. So like Tom said before, going into September, XCOM 2 already came out on PC, but it's coming out on consoles like early September. Yeah.
There's a NASCAR game.
Anyways, looking forward to the rest of September though. A game that I am extremely excited for is ReCore, but I haven't really. I guess I've been distancing myself from games more and more. Like I'll watch the trailer, and the trailer kind of decides if I'm going to get the game. Then once the game comes out, I'll watch one or two reviewers that I really really like, and if they say the game's good, I'll get it.
Yeah, I don't know. This game could be fun, but it also looks like it could be kind of boring. We'll see.
But then moving on to the rest of this September, I added this game on there just because I love the second one, but Forza Horizon 3.
Those are fun games.
Because
I hope it's good.
It's like watching a racing game, but adding, well, this is kind of actually very true, but adding like the Fast and the Furious touch to it.
Just imagine if they did another Fast and Furious.
Yeah, that's why I laughed at when I was saying it because Forza Horizon 2 did that. But yeah, I think this game's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, these are my kind of racing games, unlike the regular Forzas, where I like a little bit more arcadey. So yeah. I don't know if I'll buy this one, but these are good games.
Like looking at like Need for Speed, for example. Like my favorite Need for Speed of all time is Most Wanted because it was realistic. But it was arcadey enough to where it wasn't realistic.
Yep.
So it was just really fun. Then at the end of September, if it actually happens, Final Fantasy 15.
I'm excited for this one.
I think
it looks. I like how different it is than any other Final Fantasy game.
So like I played the demo of it. Like I don't think it was a demo of the game, but I think it was like a demo of the gameplay. I mean, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't like, oh, this game's gonna hold my attention.
Yeah, I didn't play the demo for it.
But I will probably buy this. Possibly. October, couple of games. So October is probably my biggest month of the year right now. But starting the month off with Mafia 3, I think this will be great. So Mafia 2 and 1 were really good, but I think this one takes place during Vietnam or like right after the Vietnam War. and you're like a guy that just got home from the war and you're trying to make money for your cousin or something like that. Traditional GTA type storylines, but Mafia to me is, like I said, GTA, but very serious.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I think this one they said they're actually going to have like side missions and stuff and activities, but I think the setting for this, like being late '60s and all that,
and it's
is
like
a
New
really
Orleans,
cool idea.
And it's like
it's
in
something
New Orleans
that we never really see.
Yeah. Then October, Tom's not getting this because he's retired, but Gears of War 4 is coming out.
Too easy.
I am more than excited. I've talked about that enough. But moving on, a game that we're both going to get, I know it, but WWE 2K17. It's going to have Goldberg in it.
Goldberg.
And it's...
I hope it's better. But I feel like with it still being on 360 and PS3, which we both noticed yesterday during UFC when they did an ad for it, it was like, oh, that's just going to hold it back.
Yeah, and I think we're at that point now where the systems have been out since like 2014, I want to say. No, 2013.
13.
Yeah, 13, because I got one right after my son was born in 2014. We're like 3 years past the release of these consoles. It's time to be done.
Yeah, like Madden, I get it. NBA 2K, I get it. But like,
just stop.
Can we please just like stop with these? Yeah. So that's kind of disappointing. But you know, hopefully it's good. We can be Sasha Banks in the game. So
Yay!
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Would buy for everyone on the stream. All right, then. I'm torn between this game right now, but Battlefield 1.
It looks pretty cool.
It looks cool.
I like that it's in alpha right now, so I can watch people play it.
Yeah, it looks cool, but
everyone's playing fucking snipers, and it's really boring.
Yes.
Everybody's playing snipers.
Please fly the planes and shoot people with the guns.
Right, yeah. So, I don't know if I'm getting this. Maybe. I
don't know. But then there's another game that I am more than ecstatic for.
Me too.
Titanfall 2. Oh my god.
That's going to be the one.
Oh my god.
Hey, so why does it say World of Warcraft Legion comes out October?
I don't know. I saw that too, but it's not true.
I didn't think so either.
I double checked. But I'm just really confused because both these games are owned by EA, and Battlefield 1 comes out, and then like literally 7 days later Titanfall 2 comes out.
That is really weird.
I figured that they would have spread them out a lot more. Like maybe I'm glad that they're releasing Titanfall 2 this year, but maybe it might have been smarter to release Titanfall 2 like in January or February.
Yeah, that is really weird. I never thought about that. That's strange.
Because it's like it goes like this: Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But before we leave October, we mentioned it before, but Friday the 13th, and oh my god, am I just getting more and more excited for this game. Yeah. And I think playing Dead by Daylight's helping, but it's literally, so Dead by Daylight's 1 versus 4, and Friday the 13th I think is 1 versus 7.
Nice.
But the counselors, apparently I was watching a couple videos, this guy, his name's like, it's funny, his name's like Charmin Extra Strength Slaughter or something like that on YouTube. But he did an interview with one of the co-creators of this game, or co-founders of the Friday the 13th game of Gun Media Studios, and he was actually discussing how the game is going to work. So the E3 demo we saw, they said that they pretty much put Jason on steroids, so that way he would easily... Okay, thanks Limber spraying. But anyways, they had put Jason like on steroids just to make the gameplay more intriguing, because the games are typically going to last 15 to 20 minutes normally, which is, I'm okay with this.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, because it's eventually get to the point where I think the game just I'm not sure if it's going to time out or if it's going to be one of those where Jason can just, because Jason gets more powerful as the game goes on. So he has the 4 perks. Have you seen the demo from E3?
I didn't watch any of it. No.
Oh, so like in the demo, he starts off with like 4 perks, but he's only going to start the game off with 1 perk, and he's going to unlock more perks as the game goes on. So I'm like, well, that's really cool. And then the counselors are going to start in groups of 2 or by themselves, like groups of 2 or 3 or by themselves. And they said that there's going to be different ways that you're going to be spawning together. So you might have a male and a female character that spawn in a cabin together that just got done having sex. Huh. Or you might have
they're definitely ready to get killed in a horror.
Well, which is great. Like I'm like, that so follows Friday the 13th. Like you'll learn as we watch them all, because me and Tom are going to sit down and watch all the Friday the 13th together a couple weeks before the game comes out. But then also, you might just be two guys that are sitting by the fire just drinking some beer. And I'm just like, man, this sounds so good. Yeah, I think it's going to be great. But I'm really excited. It doesn't have a release date. It just says October 2016. But the game looks like every time you see more and more of it, it just seems like it's getting more and more polished.
And it seems like a pretty quick turnaround from
what it was like last year.
Yeah, when it got announced on Kickstarter. So the fact that it's like...
Well, the game's already raised over $1 million. So
yeah, but I mean, like, most Kickstarter games take years to come out. So, like, it seems like this game's just kind of chugging along, which is a good sign. From
what I understand, that this game was already being created under a different name, but then they were like, why don't we just make this a Friday the 13th kind of game? And, you know, I think they just kind of went from there, and I think that's why I think it seems like it's so far along in this development process. But
yeah,
I'm excited. I know Tom is. It's going to be a lot of fun to play this game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Then November, so I know, Tom, you'll probably get the Call of Duty game so you can play Modern Warfare Remastered.
Nah, I don't know. I got burned out on Call of Duty after this last one. Like, I enjoyed it, but I just don't.
Yeah. Then a couple other games. We don't want. We'll talk about Call of Duty another time, probably. Maybe. I don't know. I think we've already kind of talked about it a little bit. But Dishonored 2. I never played the first one. Never played the first one.
First one. It's great.
I want to. Then also Watch Dogs 2. Hopefully this game will be everything the first game was supposed to be.
It looks a lot better, so hopefully it is.
Yeah. And then I think the other game that we are most excited for...
Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Yes.
I'm going to buy it.
But South Park, The Fractured Butthole.
Yes.
Those are different words, by the way. It's not butthole, it's butthole.
I am so looking forward to this game. I love that. I love Stick of Truth, and now that this one's going to be like superheroes, yeah, I'm ready.
I just think that like the way that it works, it just works for a. It felt like a very long South Park episode, like a movie, or like maybe even like half a season. The Stick of Truth did.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one as well.
Yep, me too. All right, but anything else the rest of the year, Tom, that you'd like to talk about? I don't really have much else.
I'm interested to see how PSVR is.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that, but there's nothing really announced for it yet.
So they said a lot of stuff at E3 like was going to be on VR compatible, but how and to what extent seems different. But
plus $300, that's like, I know that's not.
It's $400.
Is it 400? Oh yeah, it's 400. Yeah,
$400.
So. That just seems like for somebody like me that doesn't have a PS4 that's interested in VR, to buy a PlayStation 4 for what is it now, like $250 or $300 now? I think.
$300.
Plus $400 for VR. I'm looking at $700 plus the games.
Right.
I just don't feel like that's worth it.
That is the cheapest VR route
you
can take.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you're a PC, you'd have to, unless you already have a top-tier graphics card, you'd have to get that and all that. So I think it'll be interesting. We played through the Resident Evil demo thing yesterday as well, and I think that could be terrifying to an extent that I would never want to play it. But I think that would be interesting with VR. So
I think that the whole survival horror genre, like if you go to YouTube, I'm sure you can look at like Markiplier and other guys that do the VR stuff. But I was talking to my wife about it, and she's like, "Oh, why would it work so well?" I'm like, "Because in survival horror, you can like just get up and walk away, but like with VR, the only thing you can do literally is just like close your eyes."
Yep. You would have to make the choice to stop playing the game.
Yeah.
Completely to get out of that thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems tailor-made for horror, which I'm hit or miss on for some of those games, but. I think it'll be interesting to see what comes out for it and how it's received.
Yep.
Something tells me it's not going to be all that successful.
Yeah, and I mean, especially with the price point.
Just in general, VR.
Yeah. But I don't know. Looking at the rest of the year, there's a lot of good stuff coming out this year. Between Gears of War, Titanfall 2, Friday the 13th, South Park. There's a lot of good stuff coming out for me.
But
I'm excited.
No Man's Sky is my number one.
Honestly, like I look at mine, it's kind of. I think honestly, I'm probably most excited for Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
From playing so much Dead by Daylight and just loving it every minute I play of it, pretty much. Also, Dead by Daylight, if you haven't watched it, I think it's a ton of fun just to watch people play it too.
It's a good stream game for sure.
It is. Like, it's one because it's not. So the first time I played the game, I was really terrified. Like, I was legitimately somewhat scared. It was also like 11:30 at night and the lights were off, and I was like, oh my god, freaking out. But now it's not so much that I'm scared. It's more of like I'm just on the edge of my seat because I'm just nervous. Because I'm like, I want to do good, but I want to survive, but I don't want to freak out. So that's why I think I'm so excited for Friday the 13th. Like, just playing Dead by Daylight's just getting my juices flowing, ready to play Friday the 13th. Plus, I think whenever we did our top 10 movies series of all time, I think Friday the 13th was like number 3 or 4 for me. So
nice.
And we haven't seen a Friday the 13th game since the Nintendo, and that game was awful.
Yeah,
it was really bad. So, but yeah, No Man's Sky looks great though. I just don't have a PS4, but the exploration part, the exploration part looks really, really good. But yeah. So I think we'll be back next week. Not sure what we're going to talk about yet. Probably find something. But if anything, there's always WWE Battleground right around the corner.
Yep, exactly.
And then we got SummerSlam coming up. Lots of good wrestling stuff.
Yeah.
Then we also got a lot of good games coming out.
Yeah, it's been a good year so far. Let's keep it going.
Yes, 2016 looking pretty solid so far, but the best is yet to come, I think.
Yeah.
But thanks again for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to follow us on Twitch, subscribe to us on YouTube, all that fantastic stuff. Kind of like a plug, I guess. It's not anytime soon, but October we have our 12-hour marathon coming up.
Yes.
Still got to sit down and decide what games we're going to play. But we're going to be doing a giveaway. We're going to be giving away a game of the winner's choice. But we will have more details to come in the next couple weeks, probably, or month. So make sure to stay tuned and come back and check us out whenever you guys get the time. But thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.